Ask most people to name Asia's standout countries, and you'll probably hear the same answers repeated. Japan for its technological brilliance, Singapore for its wealth and efficiency, South Korea for its cultural influence, or Thailand for its magnetic tourism appeal. Somewhere in that conversation, Malaysia often gets overlooked, almost treated as a background player in the region. But what if that quiet image is actually Malaysia's biggest strength? Here's the controversial take. Malaysia might actually be more promising than some of the countries that get all the attention. Unlike Japan, it isn't weighed down by an aging population. Unlike Singapore, it isn't boxed in by size and dependence on global trade routes. And unlike Thailand, Malaysia's story goes far beyond just tourism. Yet it's rarely framed this way. And that says more about global perception than about Malaysia itself. Instead of chasing hype, Malaysia has been steadily building a future that's more balanced and sustainable. And that's exactly why many see it as one of Asia's most promising countries. Here are 3 big reasons why Malaysia deserves a closer look. Malaysia balances China and the US better than anyone. One of Malaysia's greatest strengths lies in its foreign policy. The world today is increasingly divided by the rivalry between the United States and China, 2 superpowers pulling countries in opposite directions. Many nations in Asia are forced to take sides, often at the cost of stability. Yet Malaysia has done something remarkable. It has maintained friendly ties with both sides, refusing to be boxed into one camp. Consider how other countries have approached this rivalry. The Philippines, for example, under President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., has leaned heavily toward the United States for military support in the South China Sea. This alignment has strengthened Manila's defense ties, but has also soured relations with Beijing. On the other hand, Cambodia has gone in the opposite direction, becoming one of China's closest allies in the region, often backing Beijing's positions in ASEAN discussions. Both strategies come with risks, either alienating China or losing leverage with the West. Malaysia, however, has taken a different route. China has been Malaysia's largest trading partner since 2009, with bilateral trade reaching over $212 billion in 2024. Chinese investments flow into infrastructure, manufacturing, and technology. At the same time, Malaysia remains close to the United States, hosting American companies like Intel, Dell, and Texas Instruments in its thriving tech hubs, especially in Penang. This balancing act is not by accident but by design. Malaysia recognizes the importance of engaging both powers for its own prosperity and security. What's even more interesting is how Malaysia handles contentious issues like the South China Sea. While Vietnam and the Philippines often escalate disputes with China through strong rhetoric or direct confrontation, Malaysia takes a quieter approach. It continues to defend its sovereignty, but it does so through diplomacy and dialogue rather than public conflict. This strategy avoids unnecessary escalation while still protecting national interests. The result is a country that enjoys stability. Investors see Malaysia as less risky compared to neighbors who are caught in great power disputes. Malaysians themselves benefit because their nation isn't turned into a pawn in the US-China rivalry. In many ways, Malaysia has proven that being pragmatic, rather than loud or confrontational, is the smarter path. If Southeast Asia were a chessboard, most countries are forced to play as either black or white pieces. Malaysia, however, has managed to move across the board with surprising freedom, and that makes it stand out. A Muslim-majority country that defies stereotypes. Another reason Malaysia deserves more recognition is because it challenges one of the most deeply rooted stereotypes in global discourse: what it means to be a Muslim-majority country. Around 60% of Malaysians are Muslim, making Islam the dominant faith. But unlike the rigid image often associated with Muslim-majority nations, Malaysia offers something very different: a model of coexistence, moderation, and modernity. For many in the West, when they hear Muslim country, they might picture restrictions, conservative laws, and limited freedoms for women. Malaysia defies those assumptions. Women in Malaysia drive, work in high-level professions, and even hold influential political positions. Dr. Zedi Akhtar Aziz, for example, served as Malaysia's central bank governor for 16 years and was widely regarded as one of the world's best central bankers. Her leadership through the Asian financial crisis and beyond earned Malaysia credibility on the world stage. Life in Malaysia also reflects a balance between tradition and modernity. The call to prayer rings out from mosques 5 times a day. Halal food is widely available, and Islamic holidays are deeply celebrated. Yet at the same time, you'll find bustling nightlife in Kuala Lumpur, concerts by international artists, and shopping malls filled with global brands. Alcohol is available, though regulated, and social life thrives in a way that surprises many first-time visitors. Perhaps the most unique feature is Malaysia's religious diversity. In Kuala Lumpur, it's not unusual to find a mosque, a Hindu temple, a Buddhist shrine, and a church all within the same neighborhood. The country recognizes major holidays for different religions. Hari Raya, Chinese New Year, and Deepavali are all national celebrations. This spirit of inclusion is rare, especially in a Muslim-majority society. This makes Malaysia more than just another developing nation. It positions the country as a role model for what a modern, moderate Muslim country can look like. In a world where misunderstandings about Islam are common, Malaysia stands as living proof that a Muslim-majority nation can be open, diverse, and globally connected. That image alone gives Malaysia a soft power advantage many other countries lack. An underrated economy that punches above its weight. Finally, let's talk about Malaysia's economy, an area where it consistently outperforms expectations, but rarely gets the spotlight. When global media talks about Asia's rising economies, the focus tends to be on giants like China and India, or fast-growing stars like Vietnam and Indonesia. Malaysia is often overlooked. But if you study the numbers, Malaysia is quietly one of the strongest economies in Southeast Asia. Malaysia's GDP per capita in 2024 is almost $12,000, placing it well ahead of Indonesia at around $4,900, Vietnam at $4,700, and the Philippines at $4,000. This means that, on average, Malaysians enjoy a much higher standard of living compared to citizens of its larger neighbors. Even though Malaysia's total population is only about 34 million, much smaller than Indonesia's 280 million or Vietnam's 100 million, its economic performance is disproportionately strong. One of Malaysia's biggest strengths lies in its industrial base. It has long been a major exporter of semiconductors and electronics. American companies like Intel have been operating in Penang since the 1970s, and today Malaysia is an integral part of the global supply chain for technology. Alongside manufacturing, Malaysia is also rich in natural resources such as petroleum, palm oil, and rubber, giving it additional streams of revenue that many other Asian countries lack. Tourism plays a significant role in Malaysia's economy. In 2024, the country actually surpassed Thailand in visitor arrivals, becoming the most visited country in ASEAN with an impressive 38 million visitors. And the momentum hasn't slowed down. In just the first quarter of 2025 alone, Malaysia recorded over 10.1 million international arrivals. While Thailand often grabs the spotlight as the region's tourism superstar, Malaysia offers just as much diversity, from beaches and rainforests to islands and cultural landmarks, but without the same level of overcrowding. The famous slogan, "Malaysia Truly Asia," isn't just clever marketing. It reflects the reality of a nation that truly captures the spirit of Asia in one place. What sets Malaysia apart is not just its economic output, but its balance. Unlike some countries that rely heavily on one sector, for example, Vietnam on manufacturing or Singapore on finance, Malaysia's economy is diversified across multiple areas. This balance makes it more resilient to shocks and more adaptable to change. It's like the lightweight boxer who may not dominate headlines but consistently lands punches strong enough to take down heavier opponents. Why Malaysia could be Asia's most promising country. The question isn't whether Malaysia is the best country in Asia today. The more important question is what Malaysia represents for the future. Some nations shine in the present but struggle to adapt to change. Malaysia, however, has quietly positioned itself as a country with long-term advantages that few others can match. It has learned how to balance China and the United States without being trapped in the rivalry of superpowers. That skill will only become more valuable as global tensions rise. It has built a society where Islamic identity blends with modernity, tolerance, and diversity, showing the world a different face of what a Muslim-majority nation can look like. And it runs an economy that may not dominate the headlines, but consistently performs better than many larger nations, giving its citizens a standard of living that is the envy of much of the region. Malaysia may not be the loudest or flashiest country in Asia, but sometimes the most promising nations are the ones that build quietly, step by step, creating a foundation for stability, growth, and influence. For now, it remains underrated, often overshadowed by its neighbors. But in the years ahead, as the world looks for examples of balance, diversity, and resilience, Malaysia may finally get the recognition it deserves. So perhaps the real question isn't whether Malaysia is the best country in Asia, but whether it is the most promising. And on that front, Malaysia has a very strong case. Now, what do you think? Do you agree with this video? Tell us what you think by leaving your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos.